Hey everybody, welcome back to Real Talk, Real Leaders. I'm your host, Shauna Griffiths. And today I'm so excited because we're hitting some of my favorite topics with one of my favorite people in the industry. We've got Alicia Jeffries, the SVP of Marketing from the Detroit Pistons. Thank you so much for coming on today, Alicia.
Thanks for having me. I'm very excited about this conversation today.
Me too. So folks, if you don't know this about me, I am a bit of a basketball head. I played basketball from the time I was 10 years old on up. And I'm actually also from Michigan. I spent a ton of time growing up playing basketball in the inner city in Detroit. I was a part of the Detroit Police Athletic League, I have to say. And, just played in the area, was a big fan of the Pistons bad boy era. I mean, Joe Dumars, Rick Mahorn, Vinny J. I also happen to love Michael Jordan, which was a weird combination.
Come on, we all saw The Last Dance. Come on.
I know. So, so again, like this conversation today, we're going to hit on like some of my favorite topics. We'll of course talk some basketball, marketing, authentic leadership. And then, like I said, like one of my favorites. So Alicia, you have been in your seat for quite a while, which I respect. There are a lot of people who think that you need to jump from job to job along the way, but you have had a run, girl. So talk to us. It's been about 20 years, I think, at the Pistons.
Yep. 21-22 season. I'm starting my 20th season with the team.
Oh, that is incredible. Well, congratulations. And so talk to us about that evolution. Like you're now sitting in the SVP seat. I mean, that's huge, especially if you think about the number of NBA teams. There's not a lot of those seats, and a lot of them are not filled by a diverse, candidate such as yourself. So tell us about that evolution.
For sure. No, I appreciate it. And thanks for having me. It's been a grind over the last 20 years. When you don't bounce around, what you have to do is you have to work your way up.
Yeah.
And so luckily someone gave me a shot, which I think is half the battle. You've got to, try to get your foot in the door, try to get noticed. So what I will say about that though is, I'm a 5 foot tall Filipino who grew up in Flint, Michigan, right? I'm not a basketball player. I definitely grew up in a basketball town. That was the love of the game that was built for me, but I knew that I would never play. So what I needed to do is to get into the industry, I needed to eliminate all other excuses. So that when they saw me walk into a room, short stature, woman coming into a male dominated sports industry, that was not a hindrance to me. And
right.
So I definitely lead with sort of that confidence that I'm supposed to be there. Someone gave me a shot with Palace Sports and Entertainment 20 years ago, really to work arena football. Quickly thereafter, started working for the W. We had the Detroit Shock here, which was an incredible run. We won 3 championships in my tenure with that group, and worked my way up. Whenever there was a need, business operations, brand management, things popped up with the Pistons. I sort of leaned in and was always willing to help. And over the course of the last 20 years, I worked in a brand or marketing capacity for the team. And luckily I sit now and have oversight over all of our marketing verticals, around 45 plus employees. And I lead the charge for them every day.
That is incredible. And I think sometimes people could overlook the amount of learning you had to do, and each one of those areas where you went into it was completely different. There was a learning curve for you. And so that wasn't something that you picked up by being elsewhere and having other people teach and stuff like that. Like, I think there's a lot of self-taught and a lot of like seeking information and guidance and just that learning.
Yeah, you definitely have to figure it out in this business. I think in sports, we move so fast.
Yeah.
So I definitely felt like a sponge. I took my experience and learning from probably a place that people wouldn't think to look. I befriended the conversions team, the head of operations. I wanted to see the grind that it took behind the scenes to build these experiences for our fans, so that I appreciated on the flip side, everything the fans were seeing and like what it took. So I took actually a lot of learning from probably unfamiliar places. People think, oh, sales and marketing, you want to mix and mingle with the executive team. Nope. I wanted to be on the floor, get my hands dirty, and really understand what it took to put on this sports experience.
Yeah. And I love the fact that in your role now, it's like you have all these tools in your toolbox because you spent the time in the different areas. And I've often talked about, I think that the person who does that, you truly are made yourself the best you can be. You have filled your toolbox. So, because you're not going to look at somebody else and say like, well, you should be doing this because you without the context of knowing it from having touched it yourself. So I just think that's so incredible. And I think that really does help make you as impactful as you are in your role.
Yeah, I like to call it servant leadership.
Yeah.
Because I've been the person folding the t-shirts, I've been the person moving the boxes. And so my team, I think, appreciates, respects that I understand what I'm asking of them, because I did it myself. And I've done it in this building for this team. It's not like it was somewhere else. So that piece of servant leadership, I think, is something that allowed me to sort of carry through.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love when you talked about that, you gave us a little bit of insight into how your background coming from an immigrant family, how that has influenced your journey. So, thank you for sharing that. I think you talked about like the servant leadership. And I also think the next kind of evolution of that is the authentic side of your leadership, which I will tell you folks. So Alicia gave me a shot. She said somebody else gave her a shot. She gave me a shot about a year or so ago. When we were doing SLG impact marketing work, and you gave me a shot to work on your social justice platform, which I beam with pride when I see it. A fellow colleague at the time, Elisa Padilla, who is amazing, worked with me on that. And Power Humanity is what the result is. So check it out if you haven't seen it yet. But thank you. First of all, let me just pause and thank you for giving me that shot.
For sure.
But I say it because I saw and experienced your authentic leadership, that servant leadership firsthand. And the way I saw it, the impact on your staff was incredible. It was like when we would interview them, they all sang from the same song sheet, which you don't find a lot at companies. They all said the same things about the brand. They had incredible pride for being there, incredible respect for you and your role. And I think it really is a result of the way that you approach it. So talk to us a little bit about that more, because you're authentic in your leadership style. We'll get this a little bit later, but it's also in the way that you've built the brand.
Yeah, for sure. Just talking, I guess, a little bit about personal. I did come from an immigrant family. I think what it taught me is that there is a willingness of self-sacrifice that immigrants carry with them. They leave behind family, they leave behind their life, sometimes stepping into the unknown. And so there's that element of self-sacrifice that I think my father really instilled in me, that I saw him bring with him. And then the second part of that, though, is the appreciation of the outcome. So every single day of his life that he's lived in America, big smile on his face. He just appreciated what he now had, the opportunities he had for his children. And so I literally carry it, not like a chip on my shoulder, but I carry that with me to understand that I need to appreciate every day that I wake up, like there's value in that. So self-sacrifice, and I think just appreciating what you have in the moment is something I definitely learned from him coming to this country.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that probably also like your work ethic, your staff see, and that is so authentic. So your staff see that and they're going to model that themselves after that. They're going to mirror that. And so, I just can't say enough. It was awesome to see you in action and your staff. And, again, just that impact that you do have. So keep
so
it
nice.
Yeah, no, but it's also one thing I observed about you is you have this wonderful mixture of like lovely boss lady, baddie, the way that you operate. So it's this like very much respect you, but also and don't mess with you and know that you know your stuff. And it's so much, as I was thinking about it, it's kind of just like you're like warrior status for me. You've got multiple kids, right? Two
Four
sets of
guys.
kids?
Four
Oh,
guys. Yes. Two sets of twins.
two sets of twins, right? So multiples.
All the things.
And you had a brush with a life-threatening medical condition, and you work in a 24/7, pretty much 365 industry. So talk a bit about like how do you make it all happen? What's that? What's it like to kind of walk in your shoes?
Well, super loaded question there.
Yes.
It's not easy, but here's the thing, being a mom of four, going through some health crisis in my life, those are the things that ground me into something very real. Yeah. And so it allows me, I think, to function in my day with a clear path to what my end goal is at the end of the night, which is hugging my kids, tucking them in, seeing smiles on their faces, right? And so I love my job. I love working in sports. I love making things happen, creating and building experiences. But at the end of the day, I have sort of something that grounds me. And that's what keeps me going. The one thing that I, though, realized very quickly is because of my own personal situation. I have 45 plus employees in my verticals that all have different life setups, different experiences, different things that happen to them before they hit the office doors in the morning. And I really view my job as being the person that can help all those 45 employees with different communication styles and approaches to the job find common ground. And we almost find common ground in the fact that we all have these different lives. Yeah. And that's what I try to uncover for the team, is that I went through these things. So I'm right there, to your point of being right there with everyone. I think they respect and they do appreciate that, I'm a mom first. I've got sick kids sometimes, there's just a give and take. And I lead with that. And I think it creates this really great common ground with my team. So
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And leading over 40 people is no joke. And I know that
a lot of personalities.
A lot of personalities, yeah. I love that you find out what makes each one tick, by the way. I can tell that from what you said. So that is awesome. And in some of our conversations over time, I know that hiring diversity with respect to people and perspective has been really important to you. And I think it's also been part of what has helped to transform the organization, I would venture to say. So give us a look into kind of how you go about that. What's your philosophy?
For sure. There's obviously no greater value I see in having like that diversity of thought and seat at the table. It really, one, on top level, it helps you avoid cultural missteps that can just happen because there's not general awareness of different perspectives. So that's one thing. The second piece, though, is it creates a really incredible framework for a good back and forth of ideas and brainstorming. And there's not this homogeneous sort of setup where everyone had the same life experience, everyone has the same day-to-day, and it creates this really good push and pull on my team. So that's one of the reasons that diversity in hiring practices is so important for me specifically, because it allows us to innovate. If you're always coming from the same point of view, nothing is ever going to change. And so that challenge is what drives us. So I need different perspectives. So we have a really healthy mix of both men and women, both moms and dads, or single, not married. We have, Black males in executive leadership roles. We have Southeast Indian descent, Hispanic representation. It's I look out my office door here, it's a really cool mix of people that, again, my job is to make sure that each one of them, when they look to their left and right, realizes how cool it is to sort of understand each other's perspective. And it pushes the team to be so much better. I obviously big advocate for diversity and hiring practices.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I will say, you mentioned the Shock earlier, and I don't think we actually ever talked about this, but I was there for the second season of the Shock with Nike,
Oh
Once
my,
Upon a Moon.
that's amazing.
And I will tell you, when I was walking those halls, there wasn't a ton of diversity. So
Yeah.
I applaud you and the organization for how far you've come,
Yeah.
the transformation that you all have gone through. As a Michigan person, as a Detroit, it's stuck in my heart. I just am so glad to see how well and how far you guys are coming and doing.
Yeah. I mean, Sean, it requires a concerted effort
Oh yeah.
to make sure that, the NBA is one of the most diverse leagues of all the major sports, and to be reflective of your fan base, super important, but also like being in Detroit, we have to be reflective of our neighbors. That's what we call the people that live in our community. And it's a very important piece of our business, to be talking the same language as we're going to market.
Yeah, absolutely. Which gets us into your commitment to building an authentic brand. And I mean, just what you guys have done with the brand has been, I said earlier about like I said transformational, you've really transformed it. I mean, and to see it come alive in your marketing is incredible. So folks, I got a sneak peek of their upcoming campaign and was like, oh, it's so good. So stay tuned for that. But so give us an idea. I mean, you guys went through all the challenges of, things being shut down and the season impacted. And so this is a big season for you that's about to tip off, and you have a new campaign. And, and I know again, that authenticity to Detroit, to the brand, to your season ticket holders and the community and sponsors is so big. So tell us what you guys are up to and what can we expect this season?
Oh, well, lots of things. I'm very excited. Yes, our campaign rolls out in about a week. So we'll make sure we share sneak peeks with you guys and your audience. For us, we moved from the suburbs 4 or 5 years ago and started playing in the city.
Right.
We did not move our headquarters, though, until about 4 months prior to the pandemic shutdown. So in 2019, October, we officially opened our headquarters downtown and moved our whole employee base to the city. And then pandemic hit, office shut down after a few months. But what we did is we made the commitment at the moment of us moving downtown that I already mentioned it, but we had to understand our neighbors, the community that we served, how to be a good partner for what the city needs. And so our job has really been sort of a rebrand and a relaunch for sort of shaking the suburban team and becoming a team of the people here in Detroit. And that happens in a few ways. We have to totally lean into, community organizations. We have to talk to the small business owners that are close to us. And we've just forged some incredible relationships with the people that are already doing great work in the city. And we view our job as the platform to shine a light on what's already great here. It's not like we're bringing greatness. We're uncovering all this incredible talent in the art, the music, the fashion, the lifestyle space. And when you pair that with basketball, it's just a fun environment for people to be involved with. And so that's been our initial approach. Now that we're in the heart of the city and things are opening up again, we are leaning all the way in.
That's awesome. I cannot wait to see it this year. Folks, if you knew the Detroit Pistons before, just wait.
Well, let's see. So in my 20-year tenure, the first 10 were really great on the court. Last 10, not so much. So I feel like the time is now. We're going to have some really good basketball on the court this year.
Yeah.
We have a young team, obviously Cade Cunningham being our #1 pick this year, but we have some really incredible talent, Isaiah Stewart and Jeremy Grant, and there's just some amazing talent. So I'm excited about basketball on the court again.
Yeah.
And then pair that with all the cool stuff we're doing from a brand standpoint. And our brand relaunch. I think it's going to be a good perfect storm for the marketing team this year.
It is, and I can't wait to see it. Alicia, you are fantastic, and I am so grateful to know you, to call you my friend, and to see you in action. So thank you so much again for coming on today. And like I said, folks, watch out for the Pistons this year.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much. Bye.